You're 5 years old, playing with sticks in the dirt outside the workhouse when a man in a soot-stained coat walks up to the matron. They talk, they nod. Money changes hands. The matron grabs your arm, and before you can ask what's happening, you're standing in front of a stranger who smells like burnt coal and desperation. Congratulations, you've just been sold for 4 guineas. Welcome to Victorian England, where childhood is a luxury and you just ran out of credit. Historic UK+1. The man who bought you is called Master Grimsby, and he's your new legal guardian, employer, and the person who'll determine whether you live to see 15. He doesn't ask your name, he gives you one. You're Soot now. Original, right? The ride to London is cold, cramped and silent, except for his occasional muttering about profit margins and narrow flues. You're not a child to him. You're an investment that needs to pay for itself, preferably before you die or grow too big to be useful. Whichever comes first. Wikipedia+1. Your new home is a cellar that smells like death took a vacation and decided to stay. The floor is dirt, the walls weep moisture. And your bed? That's a pile of soot sacks in the corner, still warm from the last boy who slept there. Where is he now? Nobody says, but the way the other boys avoid eye contact when you ask tells you everything you need to know. You're sleeping in a dead kid's bed. Sweet dreams. Chimney Solutions +2. Day 1 of training starts at 4 a.m. Master Grimsby kicks you awake and tosses you a burlap sack. Your uniform, he grunts, that's it. No shirt, no pants, no shoes. Just a sack with holes cut for your arms and head. Why so little clothing? Because you'll be climbing chimneys barely wider than your body, and fabric just gets in the way. You'll be climbing naked most of the time anyway. They call it buffing it, which sounds way more fun than it actually is. Spoiler alert, it's the opposite of fun. Historic UK+1. Your first chimney is a townhouse in Bloomsbury. Master Grimsby points to a fireplace opening that looks impossibly small. Up you go, he says cheerfully, like he's suggesting a pleasant walk. You hesitate. That's when you learn about motivation techniques. He lights a small fire of straw at the base of the chimney. The smoke and heat hit you like a slap. Climb or burn, he explains. It's a simple business model. You climb. The space is so narrow your shoulders scrape both sides. Your knees and elbows drag against brick that feels like sandpaper made of hate. You push yourself upward using your back against one wall and your knees against the other, inching upward in complete darkness. The soot fills your nose, your mouth, your eyes. You can't breathe without inhaling centuries of burnt coal. You're essentially swimming through toxic dust in a vertical coffin. Fun childhood, right? ICR+3. Halfway up you get stuck. Panic hits harder than the smoke. You try to move, but your body won't fit. You try to breathe, but your lungs just pull in more soot. You try to scream, but nothing comes out except a wheeze that sounds like death, clearing its throat. Then you feel it, something sharp jabbing your feet. Master Grimsby has sent another boy up behind you with a pin, stabbing the soles of your feet to make you climb faster. Nothing says team building like being stabbed by your co-worker while suffocating. You make it to the top somehow. Your arms are bleeding, your knees are raw. Your lungs feel like they're filled with gravel. Master Grimsby inspects your work, finds it adequate and pays you in the traditional chimney sweep currency. Absolutely nothing. You get food and shelter, he reminds you. That's your wage. The food is porridge that tastes like sadness mixed with regret. The shelter is the soot cellar. You're living the Victorian dream. My chimney +2. By age 7, you've climbed hundreds of chimneys and developed some exciting health problems. Your knees are permanently swollen and point in directions knees shouldn't point. Your elbows are covered in scars that form a roadmap of suffering. Your spine has started curving from the constant contortion required to navigate narrow flues. And your lungs? Let's just say coughing up black phlegm is now your primary hobby. You're basically falling apart, and you haven't even hit puberty yet, ICR+2. The other boys in the cellar become your family, sort of. There's Tommy, who's been sweeping for 3 years and has the respiratory system of an 80-year-old coal miner. There's Jack, who got stuck in a chimney last winter and wasn't found for 2 days. He survived but doesn't talk much anymore. And there's little Pip, who's only 4 and cries every night for his mother. You tell him it gets easier. You're lying, but kind lies are the only luxury you can afford. Chimney Solutions +2. Bath time happens once a week if you're lucky, 3 times a year if you're not. Master Grimsby's wife drags you to the yard, strips you naked, and hoses you down like you're livestock that wandered through a coal mine. The water is freezing. The soap is harsh enough to strip paint, and you're still never really clean. The soot has worked its way into your pores, your hair, under your fingernails. You're permanently stained the color of your profession. People cross the street when they see you coming. You're a walking reminder that Victorian prosperity has a price, and that price is measured in child corpses. My chimney +2. Age 8 brings your first serious accident. You're climbing a particularly narrow flue in a Mayfair mansion when the chimney takes a sharp turn. You try to navigate it, but your body doesn't bend that way. You push harder. Something in your shoulder pops. Pain explodes like fireworks made of broken glass. You're stuck, injured, and slowly suffocating. You can hear voices below, people having tea, discussing politics, completely unaware that a child is dying 20 feet above their heads. Historic UK +2 Master Grimsby eventually pulls you out by tying a rope to your ankle and yanking. Your shoulder isn't just dislocated, it's destroyed. A doctor, that costs money. Instead, Master Grimsby pours gin on it, pushes the bone back into place with a crunch that haunts your nightmares, and tells you to get back to work tomorrow. Welcome to Victorian Workers' Compensation, where the compensation is, you're not dead yet, so quit complaining. Chimney Solutions +1. By 10, you've witnessed 3 boys die. Tommy suffocated in a chimney during a particularly difficult climb. Jack fell from a rooftop while trying to access a chimney, and little Pip developed a cough that turned into pneumonia, that turned into a small grave in a pauper's cemetery. Master Grimsby replaced each of them within a week. The workhouses are full of children nobody wants, and the chimney sweeping business is always hiring. Supply and demand Victorian style. My chimney +2. You start noticing something weird happening to your skin. Warts appear on your arms, your legs, and in places you'd rather not discuss. The older boys call them soot warts, a charming nickname for the first signs of chimney sweep cancer. It starts as rough patches of skin, then turns into painful sores, then becomes something far worse. The oldest sweep you know is 19, and he's dying slowly from cancer that started in his groin and spread everywhere. He tells you he'd rather have fallen from a rooftop. At least that would have been quick. ICR +2. Your one day off per year is May Day, when chimney sweeps parade through the streets in a twisted celebration of their profession. You wear your cleanest soot-stained clothes, dance in the streets, and pretend for one day that your life has meaning beyond being a human cleaning brush. People throw coins, children point and laugh. You collect the pennies knowing they'll go straight to Master Grimsby's pocket. But for one day, you're visible. People see you as something other than a problem to be solved or a service to be purchased. My chimney. At 12, you're starting to outgrow the narrow flues. Your shoulders are too wide now. Your frame too large to squeeze into the Victorian architecture, designed for smaller bodies. Master Grimsby notices. His investment is depreciating. You overhear him talking about selling your apprenticeship to a factory owner. Congratulations, you're about to trade one nightmare for a slightly different nightmare. At least factory work doesn't require you to suffocate in vertical shafts while being stabbed by co-workers. Historic UK +1. But before the transfer happens, you get sent up one last chimney. A mansion in Belgravia with a notoriously difficult flue system. You've climbed it before and barely made it out. This time your luck runs out. You're halfway up when the accumulated soot gives way. You fall tumbling down the shaft in complete darkness, bouncing off walls that scrape away skin like a cheese grater made of Victorian-era cruelty. You land in the fireplace in a heap of blood, broken bones, and decades of collected soot. Chimney Solutions +2. Your left leg is shattered, your ribs are cracked, and your lungs, already damaged from years of inhaling toxic particles, are now filled with the soot you disturbed in the fall. Master Grimsby takes one look at you and makes a calculation. Medical treatment costs more than you're worth. He dumps you at a charity hospital where overworked doctors do their best with limited resources. Your leg is set poorly. Your ribs heal crooked, and your lungs, they never really heal at all. ICR +2. At 13, you're officially too damaged to sweep chimneys and too young to do much else. You end up begging on street corners, a former child laborer turned child beggar, completing the circle of Victorian poverty. You recognize other former sweeps by their curved spines, their twisted limbs, and the black stains that never quite wash away. You're all living proof that England's industrial revolution was built on the broken bodies of children nobody cared enough to save. Wikipedia +2. By 16, the cancer arrives. It starts as a painful sore that won't heal, the consequence of years of soot grinding into delicate skin. The doctors have a name for it: chimney sweeps carcinoma. It's agonizing, untreatable, and 100% fatal. You're given laudanum for the pain and told to make peace with God. You're dying from the job that was supposed to give you a future. The irony isn't lost on you, but irony doesn't make cancer hurt less. ICR +2. You die at 17, which is actually old for a chimney sweep. Most don't make it past 15. Your body is buried in an unmarked grave with dozens of other child workers whose names nobody remembered and whose lives nobody valued. No funeral, no memorial. Just another casualty of an empire that prioritized clean chimneys over clean consciences. Historic UK +1. Years later, Parliament finally passes laws banning child chimney sweeps. Reformers publish reports with shocking statistics about mortality rates and cancer clusters. The public expresses outrage that such things were allowed to happen. They pass new regulations requiring mechanical brushes instead of climbing boys. Progress, they call it. You call it too late, but you're not around to say so. Wikipedia +1. Your life was worth 4 guineas to a workhouse matron and nothing to the society that used you. You cleaned the chimneys of people who never learned your name, never saw your face, and never wondered what happened to the boy who made their fires burn brighter. You weren't a person. You were a tool that breathed, bled, and eventually broke. Just another small sacrifice on the altar of Victorian prosperity, where clean fireplaces mattered more than clean hands, and childhood was a luxury reserved for people who could afford to protect it.